Continue. Hey everybody, it's me, JJ Panzer, your smart apartment advisor here with your Friday RMC weekly client call. Today we'll go over a little bit about the rent payment numbers as we discussed on Wednesday. And unfortunately today our attorney of counsel here will not be able to join us. She had another meeting that went later than she'd expected. She emailed me about 20 minutes ago and said, I'm sorry, I can't make it. So unfortunately, she won't be able to join us to give us an update on the status of the lawsuit, but I know that there will be a lawsuit, and it's going to be a big lawsuit, and it's going to be filed very, very quickly about the anti-eviction or tenant protection bill that would make it so that tenants would never have to pay their rent if they had a COVID-19 related income reduction or job loss. So suffice to say that we will get to this next week, but right now we'll do that, and then Josh has another deal of the day to discuss with us and to share with you all, and we'll certainly have an open conversation if anybody wants to ask questions or bring up a topic to discuss. So with that, I'll get to the rent payment numbers. We're basically flat with last month's numbers, with May's numbers. So yay, we're flattening the curve too. But yeah, we had 2 new requests for forbearance, and that brought us to 36 out of somewhere around 500 tenants. It's about 6% of our overall portfolio of units that we were expecting to get rent from, asking for some sort of forbearance. And to go along with that, you know, I've had, I mentioned in the call on Wednesday, we had about 16 out of the 36 who made some payment. And of those 16, we had probably 2/3 to 3/4 of the rent paid by those 16 who were asking for some level of forbearance. So it actually is more encouraging news than I would have otherwise expected, and certainly than I had feared it would be when we had the big spike between April and May. And so right now, you know, we're just holding steady and trying to be as supportive as we possibly can. My commercial tenants are basically, you know, coming in and out of the ability to pay rent based on whether they have paycheck protection loans and they've got their paperwork in order and they're ready to do that. A lot of my clients are being very generous with their commercial tenants, trying to make sure that they are able to stay and live up to the terms of their leases. And so over the next few weeks, I'll be working with all of our commercial tenants who have deferred rent to work on ways to make sure that they can stick around, because the last thing we want in the next 6 months to a year is vacant retail space. So, you know, that's that with the rent payment numbers. As far as the lawsuit goes, I was on a conference call this morning with the industry, and there will be a lawsuit filed by Zacks, Friedman, and Patterson on their behalf. And it will be, you know, it's a pretty simple case that this is an overreach by the Board of Supervisors. And thank you, Nicholas, for sharing the information that you did with me. The response from Supervisor Catherine Stephanie in, I think she's District 2, she wrote back, one of the legislative aides wrote back to Nicholas when he wrote to her office, and she brought up that, or the aide brought up that the Supervisor Stephanie was the lone vote in dissent, and she's been a reliable ally for our industry and for business in general. They said they didn't think that this eviction protection ban would hold up in court. And now we're also looking at fighting against a new bill that would extend the moratorium for 15 months and give the same protection at the state level, which I also think is problematic. And so we'll learn more about that on Friday. If anybody has questions or comments or thoughts about that, I'm happy to take them. And if not, I will introduce Josh to share an interesting deal. I took a look at this one before we hopped on the call today, and it's a building in my neighborhood, and it looks like it's a good deal. So let me hand this over to Josh. There you are. Go right ahead. Oh, we got
everybody.
There you are.
All right. Let me do a share screen here. If you can enable screen sharing, JJ.
Yeah, hold on. How did I do that last time? Exit. Oh, wait. Exit. I don't remember what I did last time. Hold on a second. Do Or you know what? I have it and I can pull it up, I suppose. Here we go. There it is. Josh's opportunity. Pull it up. And screen it. And there it is. Okay. Everybody see that one? Is it sharing?
I do.
Yes. Okay, cool. We got it. Go for it.
Okay. So scanning the market, looking for buy-side opportunities. Interesting to see this property in particular hit the market recently. And what you can scroll down and get to the
picture here.
Right there. It's in Bernal Heights on Mission. Just hit the market. So what I'm seeing is that the properties that are coming out currently have more favorable cap rates. So they're better deals for buyers. I do think that agents and sellers are recognizing that they're going to have to be more competitive and drop price a bit. There's definitely a lot of there's a good amount of inventory coming out now that's just nice. This is a nice solid building. If you scroll down, JJ.
You want to go over your reasons why you like it? You got
yeah
improvements.
Yeah. So yeah, keep going down. There you go. Right there is good. So what I'm seeing with this is a nice price per unit coming in the low 400s, price per square foot at 466, which is competitive. Again, nice upside. And the most interesting thing is cap rates at 5 and above. I remember for years, for the last, gosh, I don't know how long, we were in the 3s consistently, and still the trophy buildings are in the 3s now. And a lot of people are holding tough in the 3s. But a 5 cap is seeing a building in this condition, in this location. This is not a A+ location, but it's a solid B+ location. And to see something come out in the as a 5 is pretty interesting. If you scroll down, JJ.
Yep.
So yeah, it's 12 units. Again, similar to the last deal that I was talking about, there's a nice upside here. So it's coming in at a 5 cap, so you have a decent return. And there's room for, so anytime you see a 5 cap like this, there's nice room. There's a little room for debt load, right? So in a 3 cap, you put a loan on it, you're negative. You're making no cash flow per month. So this allows room to buy with debt, to cover some property management expenses. It's kind of in this current state, it's kind of a plug and chug deal, and that you don't have to do a lot. And then there's nice upside moving up to a 7.29 cap over time. So I like that a lot. If you scroll down further, and keep going down. So the one thing that so it's underwriting at a 50% loan to purchase it, which is a little high for me. I would think you could do better. I'll explain why I think 50% is high. And well, the down payment is high at 50%. I think you can get a loan for closer to 60, down payment closer to 40%. But I can explain that as we go down. Interest rate at 4.25%. I also think you can beat that. So if you scroll down, so it's showing a cash on cash return of 2% with an upside up to 4%. It has 2 commercial spaces and 10 apartments, residential. It has 1 vacant commercial and this agent is underwriting it at 3560 per month, which is $2 a square foot, which is very doable. I would actually like to see this unit rented while in escrow, because that's pretty solid income that you can get your down payment lower and your loan to value higher. So a vacant commercial space, buying a building with a vacant commercial makes me a little nervous right now. So that to me is a bit of a mark, and it's something I'd probably try to address in escrow and try to lease it up in escrow. If you scroll down, keep going. And this is just a list of improvements. Again, you're seeing an owner who's put some real money into the building. There's a lot of documentation. So you're seeing a very conscientious owner at work, which is great. If you scroll down further. So in 2017, the biggest thing that jumped out at me is what I highlighted here. The whole building soft story upgrade has already been done. That's a big ticket item. What they did, they actually gutted the full commercial spaces and put in moment frames and new shear wall and new support for the entire building. So that was done. That's a really nice thing to have behind you. That was a required upgrade. And so again, a lot of what I like here is you buy this building and there's not any major ticket items for you to deal with right away. And so just a nice solid 12-unit building, leased up on the commercial side. That soft story work alone is, gosh, 150 to 200K, I would think, JJ, something like that.
I would imagine that's probably pretty accurate.
Yeah, and so just, again, just this is what is the cross street of this building?
It's right where Valencia ends, right at Mission Street. It's it's Valencia and Mission.
Yeah.
I know the building well because I walk down Valencia Street to go to Mission when I go for walks with the family, and Valencia dead ends. I think it's not Eugenia. That's a little farther down. It's like Prospect or Fair or something. It's a little tiny Bernal Street, but it's the other side of Mission from, just at the beginning. It's on Mission in that deep Mission part area.
Yeah. How do you feel about that vacant commercial space in this building? Nervous? Yeah.
I mean, I think that neighborhood has value. I think that rent, $2 a square foot is fairly conservative, but that's a 1,300 square foot space, which is kind of large, and all retail is going to be challenging right now. So banks are going to underwrite that as if you don't have it, as if it isn't there. Antonio's pointing out that there's an active lease for the chiropractor, but you'd find out in escrow whether that chiropractor is still there because they can't be open, or it's very difficult to be open and doing their work right now. Though my chiropractor is still open and she never closed.
Yeah, so is mine.
So they might still be able to do it, but the economic crisis certainly will not leave this building unscathed, and you have to be able to pay your debt service and all the rest of your expenses using 10 apartments. And even so, your 10 apartments are not necessarily 100% reliable. One thing I was looking at, I don't know if this is fully accurate, but they've got a tenant that moved in 2017 that they have as a third of market rent, which is strange.
Yeah. Could have been a mistake or.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely it's the kind of thing you work out in escrow, but the lease dates for a lot of these tenants aren't bad.
Right. You have 2 lifers.
Yeah, a couple, but
in 9 and 10. Yep.
Everybody else is less than 20 years, so that's not bad.
Yeah.
And
no need for parking there.
Right.
Public transportation right at your front door.
Right. Of course, public transportation is also persona non grata right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, this is a good building. I've seen this on the market before, and I don't know whether this is similar to the deal you showed us on Wednesday that had taken a big haircut. But this building may very well also be looking at a haircut because of the economic crisis, and pricing it at a 5 cap makes it very attractive.
Yeah, exactly. And so, probably to address that, the weakness on that commercial unit,
Right.
there's probably a discount there too, so maybe 5.5 cap, maybe it's a 6 cap building. So, it presents a nice opportunity. I think there's some room here.
Definitely. And it's a good quality, turn of the century, San Francisco classic, Edwardian looking building.
Right. Sitting on a fully reinforced podium, basically.
Good foundation is always key. So yeah, here's some pictures of the inside of the chiropractic practice. Hopefully they're not going anywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
That $5,700 a month is a great rent for that space. So
yeah. So yeah, that's the one that I picked today.
Excellent. Well, that's a good one. I like that building. I think that would make a good investment. One thing I'll mention, if anybody's interested in investing and they're looking at, a 50% down payment and thinking, gee, I don't have $2.5 million, give us a call. Maybe we can put something together. We might be able to recommend you to other clients to put together a partnership to see if perhaps we can make something happen. But it's always a good thing to talk about it, even if you look at the price tag and go, boy, that might be a little bit above my pay grade. But let us know if you're interested in investing. We might be able to put something together. So yeah, I mean, with that, happy to open up the floor to everybody. We are, I'll be looking forward to having a more in-depth conversation about the prospects of lawsuits next week and what those will entail and where our industry sits with regard to both of those or all of the different legislative onslaughts. Our wonderful politicians doing everything they can to protect everybody at our expense. So, that's where we're at. Any thoughts or ideas or questions? I'm unmuting everybody. Go ahead, Josh.
Let's see, Mike froze out.
There you are.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
What are some dates you're hearing about reopening in San Francisco? I keep hearing kind of conflicting signals.
Never. I mean, when we have
outdoor dining this weekend.
That's right. That's right. Outdoor dining this weekend. I will tell you, I'm not rushing out to do any outdoor dining. Yeah. Unless it's at home and I have the window open, or I'm upstairs on my roof deck looking at the city. But yeah, I mean, it'll be a little while. I'm not getting any sense that anything's going to be reopening. And, a lot of the indications that we're getting is that the large employers will be leading the way on a lot of this. I had a conversation. Let me just switch over. I had a conversation yesterday with a prospective client who told me that she has a house in Noble Valley she wants me to take a look at for management. She signed a 2-year lease with a new tenant at the end of February with an April 1st start date. So she really only gave up a month's worth of rent to start the lease, which is fine. Couple relocating from Brooklyn, and one of them works at Apple, and they're relocating here. And what happened between that February lease signing date and the April 1st lease start date was that this worldwide pandemic broke out. And instead of moving from Brooklyn to San Francisco, they rented their condo in Brooklyn, and they moved in with one of the families of the couple. The couple has a young child in Philadelphia. So they're living with the in-laws, someone's in-laws, someone's parents, and they've now delayed through the middle of July starting their lease. The landlord has collected 2/3 of the rent for each of the months that they haven't been here. But, she's still hoping they're going to get here and move into her house. And I'm going, why would they? They're living for free in a place with free babysitting. What are you talking about? Why would they ever uproot themselves and come all the way across the country? Apple won't be open for the rest of the year. I don't see why you do that. So, when it opens, definitely will mean something, but I'm not sure it means as much as we want it to. Bert, did you have a comment? Hold on, you're on mute. Here you go. I unmuted everybody.
There it is. Okay.
There you are.
There are 3 waves coming. There's the BLM wave
Right.
in the last 2 weeks, and then there's there's another wave coming on July 4th,
Right.
and then there's a 3rd wave. Let's see, which one was it? I can't remember what the 3rd one was, but there's 3 waves in the next month or so that they're figuring on. So.
Yeah. And the cases are increasing all over the country. Bloomberg, Antonio's mentioning in the chat, Bloomberg's mentioning that cases are up in Texas and Florida, Arizona. I saw California as well. And
Southern California.
What's that?
Southern California in particular.
Southern California in particular. Yeah, well, they like their beaches regardless of the fact that it's not healthy to go out in large groups.
Yeah.
But, I think what I've seen is that the focus to get rid of the 80% transmission through super spreader events, and we're still going to have that 20% natural transmission of people from person to person, which will be easier to track and easier to treat, easier for emergency rooms to handle, but nothing's changed. So, Nicholas, did you have a comment? I'll lower your hand, and did you want to say something? Oh, you have to unmute yourself. I can't hear you. There you are.
Muted?
Oh, there you are.
Okay. I just had a question, and maybe get your thoughts on it. I was talking to my mortgage broker that I've used for years, and he was saying the banks now are totally tightening up especially for investment properties, basically. It's going to be hard to underwrite self-employed individuals. They're going to require a specific amount of cash based on a loan to be with the bank.
Right.
Different things like that. What are your thoughts in terms of financing, purchasing and selling properties in terms of bank and lending attitudes?
I think banking and lending, let me just switch back here. I think right now we're dealing with a highly uncertain environment, which is kryptonite for a industry like banks that value and prize certainty and predictability. That's the whole process. It's like insurance. They want everything to be predictable and they want everything to be straightforward. And so, right now they certainly don't want buildings where a lot of the tenants are already requesting their rent. And so it's a challenge. I think interest rates have gone all over the map. At the beginning, they dropped dramatically, and a couple of weeks later, they were up through the roof again. And the financial markets don't know what to make of all this, and everybody's scared. And that's when banks, decide maybe they want to do a little less business. And so I think that for those of us who have, established long-term relationships, I think the way to go is with smaller banks. I'm with First Republic, and they, in addition to valuing the specific piece of business, you're bringing me a $2 or $3 million loan for an apartment building. They also value the relationship, the amount of business going through them. So, my company corporate operating account, my personal bank accounts, my trust accounts, things like that. They give me good service based on that. And, for many, many years, I feel like the standard for a lot of banks or for a lot of consumers in particular has been, go where the rates are cheapest. But, now banks are wanting more than just, your loan. You can't just walk into or approach a large bank and say, I want a loan, because they're really trying to work with people they know better, and they get more information based on that. So I really don't know what to say other than, look around for referrals, talk to anybody that who has a good relationship, and be prepared to move over depository relationships, because a lot of the smaller regional banks really desire that level of relationship to help make those loans. Any other thoughts or comments or questions? Anybody have ideas or things they want to talk about? All right. Well, with that, I will let you all go. Have a really good weekend. The sun came out this afternoon here in the Mission, so I'm glad to see that. And I hope you all have a really great afternoon and a good weekend. I'll see you next week on Wednesday. I'll email you on Monday with the details for those meetings. Take care, everybody. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
You too. Thank you very much.
Take care,
Thanks, guys.
everyone.